I did it. I did it. I did it. I finally did it. So one of my New Year's resolutions this year was to read all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. So I did it. I read all 9 of them. And welcome to the complete guide to reading Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. So, if you do not know who Taylor Jenkins Reid is, are you okay? Like, are you okay? Are you fine? But she is only my all-time favorite author. She is so good with words. It is so amazing. Like, oh my goodness, she is an amazing writer. So she is best known for her books, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, obviously, and Daisy Jones and the Six, which got adapted into a series on Amazon Prime. So that is cool. So okay, so what are we going to do today? I'm going to rank all of her books from my least favorite to my favorite. All of her books are good, like they're top tier, they're amazing. She writes fantastically. Okay, so I do recommend that you read all of her books, but if you do not have time for that, or if you're not interested, then at the end of the video I'm going to guide you how to read her books, like where to start, and if you do not read all of her books, like which ones you should read to get the most out of her writing. So let's do this. So Taylor has 8 novels and one novella. So she has 9 books in total, and we're going to be ranking those. So from the ninth place up to the first place, my most favorite book. So okay, all of her books are good. They're amazing. Like she's an amazing writer, but they were not amazing in the same way. So let's rank them. Starting from number 9, After I Do. It pains me that I did not like this book as much as I thought that I would, because I was anticipating it so much. So this book is about Lauren and Ryan. So they're this couple and they're 1 year into their marriage, and the marriage is falling apart, like absolutely. They're fed up with each other, and they kind of hate each other now. And so instead of divorcing, they decide to take a year apart from each other. So absolutely anything goes for this year apart. Absolutely anything goes, and like they can do whatever they want, like whatever they want. The one rule is they cannot contact each other. So Lauren cannot call Ryan and Ryan cannot call Lauren. Otherwise, everything is on the table. And so I went into the book thinking, oh my goodness, it's gonna be fun. So a couple is taking a year apart, and anything is on the table, and everything and anything is on the table. So I thought that it was gonna be this like crazy ride, but it wasn't. It was serious and delicate, and it was very well written. So I think if you are in that stage of marriage and all of that stuff, you're gonna love this book, because the the topic of a broken marriage is handled so delicately, and she digs deeper. Of course, it's Taylor Jenkins Reid. She digs deeper into like what is happening and their emotions and all of. So I did not like that, because I thought it was going to be a fun, light, easy read, but she was digging into like how Lauren was feeling and how Ryan was feeling and all of that stuff. So imagine you meet the love of your life and you fall just immediately deeply in love with them, and the world makes sense, and you're convinced that they are your soulmate, because you feel so connected, and it feels just so easy and so amazing loving them. And the other person you were meant to be with, it just all makes sense, the way you click, the way your lives fit with each other, and you're just so comfortable around them, and you love them so much with your whole heart, and you're convinced that you're going to be with them forever and ever. And then you get married, within you meet the love of your life in 6 months, and after those 6 months, you're 100% sure without a doubt that this is the person you were meant to be with, and you get married to them. and after 8 days they die tragically, and you're left all alone with this huge hole in your heart and in your life, and you don't know how to move on from this because you found the love of your life, the person you were going to grow old with, but they died just within 8 days of marriage. They died. This is what the next book is about, number 8, Forever Interrupted. And I know you're wondering, I mean, this sounds like an amazing book. Why is it number 8? I guess it was amazing. Like, the book is so sad. It was set up to be so sad, but I did not shed a single tear. A single tear. Like, throughout this whole book, I did not cry even once. Like, I did not, and it's not because like it's hard to make me cry. Like, I cry easily, you know. After watching a romantic movie, like a very cheesy rom-com, I bawl my eyes out. So it was very confusing for me. Like, I did not cry this whole book, and you're gonna see, like, as we go through the list, there are books that were not meant to be sad, but I cried like a lot, a lot. So it did not just pull my heartstrings in the way that it was meant to do. But other people love this book, and it is a very amazing read. Coming in at number 7, Maybe in Another Life. So in the story, follow Hannah, and Hannah has been like moving around and doing a lot of things, and she doesn't really know what she's doing with her life and hasn't settled down. So she calls up her bestie Gabby and is like, I don't know. And Gabby's like, oh no, girl, come stay with me and my husband, and you can figure things out. Okay, so Hannah moves in with Gabby and her husband, and that's that. So they go to this party, and Hannah starts talking with her old boyfriend again at this party, and it's the rekindling, I suppose. And at the end of the night, Gabby is like, Hannah, we're leaving. Do you want to ride? And her boyfriend is like, well, we're still talking, right? And so Hannah has to make this decision. Should she go with Gabby or stay with her boyfriend? And that decision seems very minor, but it's not, because we take a look at this time. They're not timelines. There's realities. So there's this universe where Hannah goes with Gabby and her husband and they go home, and there's this reality where Hannah stays with her boyfriend and they continue the party, and she goes home with him. They're so vastly different, and it's very, 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 very interesting to me, like how every decision has led to this exact moment that you experience. Just look around. Please just look around at your life and just think for a second, like every single decision that you have made has led you to this exact moment. You're watching this video because you decided to click on this video. Like, how would your life have been different if you did not see this? I mean, I don't know. Because, like, maybe if you did not watch this video, then you wouldn't be so inclined to pick up one of the books that I would recommend. And if you did not read this book, you would have spent your time, most of your time, doing something else, and that would have led to a completely different reality than the one that you're going to experience. And so that is so wild to me. Spoiler alert. I really loved like the ending, because the ending, for the two different realities, the endings were different, and I loved that because it was not like, well, fate, whatever you do, you will always end up in the same place, because whatever you do, you will always end up in the same place. It really does not make sense to me, because if you made a different decision, that would lead your life into a different trajectory. So like, shouldn't that be taken into account? So they did take, and then she did. Taylor Jenkins Reid did take that into account. Number 6, one true loves. True loves, you heard it. So we follow Emma and her lovely husband Jesse. So Emma and Jesse are this like goals couple. They are, couple goals. They're amazing. They've been dating since high school. They just got married and everything is going great. And they're working their dream job. So Jesse is a photographer and Emma is a writer. So everything is going amazing. It's fun. And then Jesse has to go to a job on their wedding on the 1 year anniversary. So Jesse travels and unfortunately the plane crashes and Emma is left alone. And you can see the thing with Taylor Jenkins, it's sad. So Emma is left alone and she's hurting, so she goes over the mourning period and everything, and she moves back in with her parents and tries to rebuild her life. As that is happening, so Emma is healing and trying to be a person in the world again, when she meets one of her old friends, Sam. And Sam and Emma hit it off and it's cool, and after a while they start dating and they get engaged. And wait for it, Jesse comes back. He did not die in the plane crash, so he comes back and is like, I'm back, baby. And then there's this like love triangle that Emma finds herself in. And it's not like a typical love triangle. It's not like there's a terrible guy and a less terrible guy that we're rooting for. No, like both those guys are amazing. Like they're fantastic. They respect Emma so much and they love her so much. It's amazing. And so Emma has to make like this very hard decision whether she goes back to her husband or with her fiance. But yeah, this book is very sad. I did cry because it's like very sad because um, I felt for Jesse like a lot, because imagine you coming home and you're excited. The person who's been keeping you alive, like you're in your heart, you're like, I need to go back to my wife. Like I need to go back to my wife, and you've been fighting for all this time so that you can go back to your wife. And then when you get back, your wife is engaged. Like she moved on, and I mean it's not wrong that Emma moved on. It's her life, and it was a long time, So it's justifiable that she moved on with her life, but like, and then you as Jesse, you go back and your wife has a fiance, and just so sad. Anyway, okay, number 5, Evidence of the Affair. So this is her novella. So in this book, there's this man. So this book is set in the 1960s, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so there's this man and he writes a letter to this other woman telling her that their spouses are cheating with each other. So this man's wife is cheating with that woman's husband. And they start fighting to each other and they build this weird relationship around the fact that their spouses are cheating with each other. And it is amazing, like the way that this book is written. You empathize with all the characters involved, and the topic of infidelity is dealt with very much. Like it's not black and white as you would think, because when you're outside looking in, you're just like, oh, he cheated, dump his ass, So it's not like that. The delicate intricacies of infidelity and what is going on in the person who cheated mostly focused on the spouses that were cheated on, so on what is going with their on their minds and what they're feeling and their self-esteem and whether or not they have children. So the woman does not have they the woman and her husband, they do not have any children, and the man and his wife, like, they do have kids. So like, what's that like? So this woman cheated on her husband, and they have this three amazing kids. So what are they gonna do? How do they move on from this? And and do they confront them? Do they wait for them to confess? So like, what? How do they move from the situation? Do they leave their spouses? Do they forgive them? Do they go for marriage counseling? So like, all of this, she takes them into account and she handles them again so delicately. Yeah. So like, all the depth that has to do with infidelity, because it's not just plain black and white as you may think if you're outside looking in. So this book allows you a peek into the relationship when infidelity is happening. Okay. So number 4, Daisy Jones and the Six. Okay, so this is usually people's favorite book, and it is like almost not, well, most of the time, most people, this is their favorite book by Jenkins Reid, but it is not mine. Probably because like I didn't listen to the audiobook, I read the physical book, and it was still amazing, but I think I would have gotten like a lot more and connected more with the characters and all of that if I listened to the audiobook, which I plan to do soon. Okay, so maybe I will like this book more if I, because I don't see what the hype is about around Daisy Jones. In this book, we follow the band Daisy Jones and the Six. So it was the band The Six and Daisy Jones, and they matched and they formed Daisy Jones and the Six. So this band broke up, but nobody knows why, and there was no like trail leading to their breakup. There were no like things leading to the breakup. It just happened. And so the band members are interviewed when they're like way old, and it's way long after the band and everything. So they're being interviewed and they're talking about the experiences, how the band started, and each tour and their performance, like everything. So they just are doing that, and it's written in interview style. So I hear that if you listen to the audiobook, like each character is, the voice actor of each character is different, and so it they're like acting. It's fun. Okay, but anyways, and you also get to listen to the music. So yeah, it does really sound fun. Okay, anyways, so they've been interviewed, and you get to see how each character is telling a story. Obviously they're telling it from their perspective, and you see the same story being told by another character, but like they're telling it completely like differently than the other character was telling it. And you like, they're like minor details that everybody is, you know the code that you're responsible for what you say, but not by what the other person hears. So it's like that, because a person gets, like in this book, a character said one thing to another, to the other character, and the other character interprets it as another thing, so it's like that. It reminded me a lot about being human. Yeah. Okay, so number 3 is Malibu Rising, and oh my goodness, I love this book so much. Like I love this book so much. It is one of my favorite books of all time, like not only by Jenkins Reid, but all time. I love this book so much, and I would give anything to read this book for the first time. It is so amazing. So amazing. Okay, so this book follows the River siblings, which are Nick River's kids. Nick River is, you may know him from one of the husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So he was one of the husbands. So you follow the River siblings. So there's Nina, the eldest child, and okay, there's Nina, there's Jay, there's Had, and there's Kit. The four siblings, and you follow them. Also, the story. Oh my goodness, this book. So you start the story when Mick meets the siblings' mother, June. So as they're falling in love and like start going out and getting married, and you also follow on the present day. So the present day takes place in like 24 hours or so. So in the present day, Nina River, the eldest sibling, she throws a party every year. So there's this huge party. It's the place to be. Like it's the party of the year, and every year things are happening, and this party is just amazing. Okay, so in this party, there are no invitations. So if you know when Nina's house is, you automatically invited, and it's gonna be huge. But then this year, Nina is still healing. She's heartbroken. She just got separated from. She just got divorced. Yeah, she divorced. She just got divorced. So her husband, Brandon, who is like a famous tennis player, left her for, okay, Carrie Soto. Hold that name, Carrie Soto. Hold that name. So Brandon, Nina's husband, left Nina for Carrie Soto, and Nina is still, going through the divorce. And people are not sure if she's gonna throw the party. At least the people close to her, they're not sure whether she's going to throw the party this year or like what is happening. But then Nina feels like she doesn't have a choice, because like people are gonna come to her house whether she throws the party or not, because like it's a yearly thing. So just people are gonna come to her house whether there's a party or not. So there's like that going on, and she's going through a divorce. And then we go back in time to when Mick is meeting like June, the siblings' mother, and they're falling in love, and they're getting married and getting pregnant and all of that stuff. And then like all the siblings are going through things. So they have they have their own drama. People who do not like this book, they say like they don't like the many point of views. And I suppose like there's a lot of point of views, because like there's John and Nina and Jay, and like there's a lot of point of views. But I liked that like everybody's going through something, and it is so sad, just so sad, so sad. I think about this book randomly throughout my day, and I just want to cry, because like it's so sad. You should definitely read this book. Oh my goodness, it is so amazing. So number 2, Carrie Soto is back. So you remember the name that I told you to hold on to? Give me the name. Thank you. Carrie Soto. So the second book is Carrie Soto is back. We follow Carrie Soto. So Carrie Soto is a legendary tennis player. She's one of the best tennis players to ever exist, and she holds the record for the most Grand Slams ever. And so she's retired now, and it's living her retirement life. It's okay, I guess. But then somebody threatens her record, and there's this new upcoming tennis player who's like threatening to get her record, Nikki Chan, and Carrie feels threatened. So she comes out of retirement to defend her honor, which I think is the stupidest thing ever. Like people are going to get her record, and they're going to exceed the record, like in her entire life. Like what is she gonna do? She's going to come out of the retirement every time she feels threatened by a new tennis player. Like I don't know, this person is gonna be 50, okay? And then there's gonna be a tennis player who exceeds her record. What is she gonna do? Like come out of retirement every time when she's 60, 70? It, it doesn't make sure. Okay? It doesn't make sense. I think it was very stupid of her. But you know, people were encouraging her, like her father, her agent, so but then the press was having a field day and everybody had like different opinions about this, just as you and I might. I think it's stupid, maybe you might not. So it was like that. And so you follow her journey, and you know, as the press, some of the press was tearing her apart for doing this, and she has some supporters. And will she make it? Like, was coming out of retirement worth it? They get to find out that. Oh. And I know it does not make sense at all that this book is my second favorite book. And I guess I put off reading this book. This was my last book to read by Jenkins Reid. And I put off reading this book like for a long time because, you know, we met Carrie Soto in Malibu Rising, and I was like, I do not want to read more about this character. I do not like Carrie Soto. Like, she's cold, she's intense. Like, I don't wanna spend an entire book reading about her life. So I put off this book for like the longest time. But I still don't like Carrie Soto. Honestly, I read the whole book and I still do not like her. But I understand her. Like, I understand why she was the way that she was. Or I do not disagree with the way that she was, but I do understand her. Oh, something I did not mention for like this whole story. Carrie Soto is like, the press, everybody calls her the battle axe because she is just a bitch. She is cold, and she, you know, after I remember one time after winning a match, so like after an interview, and they were asking her like, how do you feel, stuff like that, and Carrie was like, well, beating this other opponent was embarrassingly easy. And they were like, Carrie, you're being rude. And Carrie was like, no, I'm not being rude, I'm being empathetic. Oh, they were like, why aren't you empathetic towards like the other players? And she was like, I'm being empathetic because like I'm embarrassed for her. You know, she's like that. She doesn't consider other people's feelings. She just says whatever she wants. And you know, she's intense. She's just cold. And I did not want to read that. But I did read it, and I did love it so much. So much. I cried. I cried so much during this book, like so much. And if you do read the book, you will see like the part where I was crying the most. But I was crying for most of the book. Like the second half of the book, I was in tears because I was starting to understand like Carrie and everything, and who she is, like all her struggles and all of that. And that's how amazing TGR is. I don't like the character, but I understand the character. I empathize with the character. I want the character to be okay. The book was amazing, like fantastic, like great. And then my favorite book. I guess I'm a cliche, okay? I'm a cliche. When people think of Taylor Jenkins Reid, they think of this book. When they think of their favorite book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, they think of this book. This book is many people's favorite book. Like, most people have this in their, I don't know, top 10. And I'm a cliche. I'm one of those people. I love this book so much. Do not hold this against me. Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Yes, it is the best. This is my favorite book of all time, like of all time. Like, I've read this book maybe 4 times, And every time I'm going through something in life, I reread this book and it comforts me. Now, this is not only my favorite book, this is my comfort book. I love reading this book so much. And if you don't know this book, where have you been? Where have you been? So we have Evelyn Hugo. She has been married 7 times, hence Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And she's a Hollywood actress. She's successful. People love her. She's amazing. But then she has not really given the people an intimate look into her life. She's been mysterious. But then she's retired, she's old, and now she's ready to pull back the curtains and let the world take a peek. Like what her life has been like. She tells the stories of how she got to be Evelyn Hugo, how she went from this little girl who was poor and everything, and she went to Hollywood and she became a household name. So she's telling people all of that and all her journey and in all her relationships and all of those things. And you get to learn a lot about her. I think Evelyn is one of my favorite characters ever. I love her so much. She's not the first person. She has done some terrible things, but I love her a lot. I love this book. I think I will have to read this book again soon. So Taylor Jenkins' books are divided into two. So there's this book which follows celebrities and it's set in the 1960s, 80s, and stuff like that. So this book is historical fiction. So we're talking Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones and the Six, and Carrie Soto is back. So those 4 books, they fall into this universe, historical fictions. And then there's the other books. So we're talking When True Loves, Forever Interrupted, Maybe in Another Life, and all her other books. So I would highly, highly recommend that you read her historical fictions. And she's a great author, but his historical fictions are amazing. They are so much better than her other books. So amazing. So you start reading her historical fiction. So where should you begin? So I think the first book you should read is Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and not because it is my favorite book, but because all the stories, the 4 historical fictions are linked. The standalone, so you can totally pick up any one of the books and you wouldn't be lost. The plots are not dependent on each other, but there are some crossovers, one character from another book is mentioned in another book, or a magazine article or something, and it's really fun when you get to uncover those little nuggets. That's why I recommend you to read in this list. So Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And the second book to read is Daisy Jones and the Six. And the third book to read is Malibu Rising. And then the 4th book is Carrie Soto is back. So the way that they're written. So if you read Malibu Rising or Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo first, you explore that universe, and then when you're reading the second book, so Daisy Jones and the Six, so Mick River from Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo appears on Daisy Jones and the Six, and some other characters. And when you read the third book, Malibu Rising, so I think Mick River obviously is in Malibu Rising, and the other, and also Celia St. James from Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is mentioned in Malibu Rising. So it's really fun when you get to explore that. So I would highly recommend that you read those 4 books in that order. And if you have time, read Evidence of the Affair. It is short, it is less than 100 pages, and you'll finish it in just like that, and it is really amazing. And our quote of the day is by TJR, obviously fitting. Please never forget that the sun rises and sets with your smile. At least to me it does. You're the only thing in this world worth worshipping. That was amazing. That was amazing. I loved it. I love talking about Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I love talking about her books. They're my favorite. I love them. And thank you for joining me. So I will link down below 3 articles that I've written on this topic. So there's one detailing like the complete guide to reading all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. So it's like this video, you can just use it as a reminder or to refer back. And I have another article which I have reviewed, One True Loves, and there's another article that has my favorite quotes from Daisy Jones and the Six, so to kind of remind yourself how amazing of a writer Taylor Jenkins Reid is, and to just look back and have fun. Thank you so much for being here.